Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. Welcome to my stream is about ZBrush and jewelry. My name is Nacho Riesco. To all of you who are watching the streaming on YouTube, I'm not Ian. You can see I'm not Ian, so the title has, the streaming has the wrong title, the video, so don't worry about the title. And welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for be here watching the live or watching after the live these videos. So today we will be working on more jewelry designs sculpted with ZBrush. Let's see if everything is working fine on my side. Let's see. I have something activated for my subtitles. Need to adjust a little bit the music. Let me know if the music is too loud for you or not, or if anybody is listening to the music too loud or my voice is not sounding good. Hey Fexter, how you doing? Yeah, it's my privilege that you are here at all of my streamings. I'm glad to see you here again. Glad to see you here again, of course, and thanks everybody who are watching the stream. So let's go. Let me check the final adjustments. Okay, it looks like everything is working. I'm ready to sculpting. I will, as usual, I will try to pay as more attention to the chat. So I will take care of your questions, comments, suggestions to try to make the streaming as more interactive as possible. So I will pay attention to the chat. So write your comments, your questions, your doubts about ZBrush, about what I am doing, about something that I did in the past, or you want to know how I did it. And let's go. So for today is going to be a special, the starting of a special streaming, because this is going to be the first time where I'm going to try to replicate a jewelry, existing jewelry piece. So that means, you have seen all of my previous streamings. I started from different gatherings, different references, but I always try to create my own design with my own interpretation of the design that I have in mind. So, but for today, I'm gonna try to replicate this very iconic piece from René Lalique. This is serpent. I think it is not a brooch, it's not a pendant, because it is very big for be a brooch of a pendant. I have read that it could be pectoral. That means that it covers almost the whole chest. That means that it is a huge piece, a very big piece. And if you want to see it in live, you can go to Portugal, to Lisbon, to this museum, the Museum Calouste Gulbenkian. So this piece is there, so you can watch it there, and you can admire how beautiful it is. So I'm gonna try to make a replica of this. Or at least I'm gonna try, because I have been thinking about how to approach it, how to do it. And being honest, I haven't got any idea yet, because it gives me a lot of challenges in terms of how to make some part, how to make another part. Let's see what can we do. I'm gonna try, as I said before, to make it as more similar as possible. Or maybe if at some point I'm not able to reproduce it, or trying to create a 100% exactly precise from the original, maybe we can try to make an interpretation, or maybe we can make some adjustments, or try to find some solutions. That means that today is going to be the first day. Maybe it's going to take more than 3 days as usual. The days that I usually spend or create a jewelry design on my streamings. I used to be 2 or 3 streamings working on the same design, but for this one I think it will take more than 3 streamings. I think today is going to be the first, Oh, let's see. I have been gathering a lot of pictures, a lot of information from the net. I have found some of them very interesting pictures from different angles. You can see here I have a link where it says, where is it? It is here. It says here. You can see I have found this link. This is a corsage ornament. That means that it is not a brooch, it is a pendant. But you can see here, it is curious because here somewhere I have seen the needle of the brooch. Where is it? Maybe here. You can see here the tip of the needle here, or in another picture is even more visible, where you can see here, this is again the tip of the needle. That means that it could be hang from somewhere as a brooch, or it could has brooch system on the back. It's the same that we are not able to see the piece from the back. I haven't found any pictures took from the back. I will try to go to Lisbon to see if I can see what happens in the back part of the piece. Here you can see the needle as well, but it's more it's a very big piece. You can see that the dimension is around 21 centimeter high by 14.3 centimeters wide. It could be something this big, so it is a very big piece of jewelry. So it's more a sculpture instead of a jewelry piece, but it could be a sculpture made with jewelry techniques or with the jewelry designing in concept. All you know that I really admire. I'm a big fan of this author, this René Lalique. I have found this piece also. This is it. This is an, I think it's also from Lalique. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's an interpretation of the original as a pendant. You can see it's almost flat. It hasn't so many details as the original. Looks like it is a little bit more reduced in terms of details. It is not so complex because it is not so big than the original. You can see here more and more references, a lot of enamel working on the surface. You can see also here it is hollow inside. Looks like they are like tubes instead of a solid piece. This part is going to be very challenging in terms of making this thing hollow inside with the different patterns we have on the different parts of the body of the snakes, and it's going to be very challenging. I think it's going to be a very challenging exercise, but considering the good points or the easy parts of the process, we can see that it is symmetrical. Maybe we can work only on one side and then we can mirror it. Of course, the real piece is not mirrored. Each snake is completely different, but for us, we will try to make it more or less mirror to try to save a little bit of time, but it's gonna be challenging anyway. So I have made some studies of the, I can close this. I have made some studies from the pictures, trying to study how the things works on the design, and I have made this. You can see here that this is the orientation of the bodies, where we have different tubes, the path of each of the part of the snake. This is going to be looks like the tail. It starts from here and ends here. Here we have a very short neck of this snake. This part of the body is there just for making up the composition better, but this is going to be another part, and we have four main snake bodies. We are going to try to make the block out, or we're going to try to create the base mesh today for all of the bodies and for all of the heads. And also here you can see here the needle here, and also here in this picture I can see how each body makes the knot. So here you can see this body goes from here till here, pass through the back of this one, it starts, goes to the front again, and you can see there is a very complex form. We're gonna try to make the block out of the meshes today for this part. You can see the same thing here, how all of the bodies are connected together. And also we can see here that the bodies are not cylindrical, they are not like tubes. You can see the body section could be something like this instead of circular section. That means that in the front, maybe this is going to be the belly. We can say that this part of the body is going to be this, and this another part, this section could be this pattern. We have two different patterns on this middle part of the body, and we have something at the back that sadly we don't have enough information about what's happening in the back. So maybe in the back it's going to be as a simple flat surface or not. Let's see what can we do, or maybe we can put more of this pattern on the back. Let's see what we can do. Of course we are gonna need to invent things during the creation process. So we have different patterns on the body. This is going to be very challenging. I'm going to show you how to create tileable patterns, and my main concern is how to apply some of the patterns to the body, because as I said before, the body is hollow inside. So let's see how we can solve this. It's going to be very challenging. I think the easiest are going to be this one, the number 3 and number 4, in my opinion, are going to be the easiest patterns or textures to apply, and the most challenging are going to be the 1 and the 2, which are the main ones that we can see them on the front. This kind of arcs that happening here, and this kind of bee cells or honeycomb cells that are happening here on this part of the body. The snakes is not going to be the scales are not going to be a big issue. I think we can solve this. The belly, this kind of stripes, they are not going to be a big issue as well, but the number 1 and number 2, as I said before, could be not difficult to create, but difficult to apply to the surface. And this is, you can send me ideas, will be more than welcome. And we're gonna try to create this 4 pattern with stylable textures. And here you can see on these rings we have this different snakes heads. We can create this easily with a ray mesh. This is going to be, I think, easy to create this, but we can consider there as a different texture. Okay, and talking about the head, you can see the head. The heads are beautiful. I love this snake head design. It has a lot of strength. I love how it works, the flow of the lines, the composition of the different volumes, and you can see that the head is not. It is organical, but it is not 100% organical. That means that we can recognize that it is a head of a snake, but it is composed by different planes. This is the study of the different planes where the yellow lines are the limits, almost the limits of the different enamel boxes, and here we find different planes to build or to create the snake head. This is going to be very challenging, and this is going to be very fun to sculpt. I think the thing I'm gonna enjoy a lot was sculpting the head. And you can see here from the top, we also have different planes, 2 different circles, 1 main plane here, this plane that goes from here till the border of the head. And this is going to be, we have a lot of information, a lot of references to use for the sculpting process. This is going to be challenging as well, but I think the heads are going to be, or the head, because we are only going to create 1 head. I have been watching the original design, and I can notice that all of the heads are different, or has or have a small variation between each other, between each snake, between each head snake. And here we have a study of the head shape, where I have made this with Photoshop, taking different references from different pictures, and I'm gonna use this as a template for creating the basements for the head. So, and also to consider taking the different references from the pictures, I have drawn this top view. So trying to replicating the head. Let's see how it works in 3D, because sometimes when we are drawing and we go from a 2D to 3D, we are having some conflicts. So how to interpret some volumes, how the different volumes works on the surface. Let's see how it works. But as a main concept for matching the head, I think it's going to be very useful having this. So okay, this is what I did so far, and let's start working on the piece. Let me see. Okay, see the comments, no questions. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead. Let me change this first. Perfect. Okay, let's put this here on my second monitor, and I'm gonna load an image as a reference, just for when I am sculpting, you are watching the reference I am using. So texture, import. Let's see if we go to here, texture, this, load it on the canvas. This is a very big picture. You can see a lot of the details on this that happens on the surface. Let's put it here, for example, like this. And the first step that I take, you have seen I used to make this very often when I'm creating jewelry design, mainly when I'm creating brooches or pendants, not rings. So yeah, this masterclass, I'm not sure, because I'm not know if I'm gonna have success with this. This is very challenging for me and for everyone, I think, because it's going to be hard to achieve this design. But I think it's going to be fun, because we're gonna try things. I'm sure that I'm gonna make errors, mistakes. I'm gonna try the wrong way to create something. Then we are gonna try to learn together. So me and you, so each other. So try to learn as much as possible during the creation process. And greeting, I'm Martin Hoops. Welcome. Greeting from Brazil. Have you ever used an XP-Pen or Huion? No, I never used XP-Pen or Huion tablet. I'm a Wacom user. No, I'm only Wacom user. And in terms of tested during a medium or long period of time, of course I have used one day for some minutes but I haven't got the idea or to give you an opinion, a good opinion about it. I always suggest to buy a Wacom, because I know that they are the most expensive ones, but there are, I think in my opinion, it's just a matter of how you are used to use your device. I mean, if you are starting from a Huion or a XP-Pen, maybe like me or someone can tell you that the Wacom is better than the other tablet that you bought. But if you are used to use your tablet and you make your art with your tablet, doesn't matter that the others are better or worse than yours. So it's just a matter of be as more familiar as possible with your tool or with your device. So in terms of technology, of build, on materials, the feeling of quality, of course Wacom is the best. But in terms of money. I know they are the worst, but at the end, you is what the person is what creates the art. So the tool itself is not so important. So buy the tablet that you can buy with your budget. Go ahead. You are welcome, Mr. Goldsmith. You are welcome. We appreciate that you are here. For me, it's great. And still, this is an exciting project. Yes, for me, it's a very exciting project. That's for yeah. Yeah, here I have all of my preparation. I think I will share with you all of my images at the end of the process, what I did during the process, if you want. How long does it take to complete your designs in ZBrush? Depending on the kind of design. For example, this one is going to take a bit of more time than usual, I think, because in my mind, it's not at a straight way or a straight path, because I'm not sure how to solve or how to approach some parts of the design. But for example, talking about a common design, maybe it could take maybe between 2 or 5 days, depending on the kind of design, of course. Mr. Goldsmith, are you not able to listen any music? Maybe the music is too low. Let's see. Okay, let's see now. Now it's louder than before. So as I was saying before, anyway, I will try to put an eye on your comments or your question. I here have to close this. And let's start with a template. As I said before, the template in this case is going to be a flat plane 3D. It is already converted into a polymesh 3D. Let's make this longer just to recognize the axis. If we go to the plugins, this is the scale master. The scale master is now, we're going to set the scene in millimeters. So clicking on set the scene scale button. So clicking on millimeters like this, we're going to work in millimeters. That means that this is going to be this big, 210 millimeters. I forgot to turn this on because I want to keep it proportional to the millimeters. So resizer tool. And this is this size. So we have 21 centimeters or 110 millimeters from top to bottom. So let's go now to turn on the Z-axis. Here this is the Z-axis, and go into the draw menu. And clicking on, in this case, front back, up down and left right means front back is the Z, up down is the Y, and left right is the X axis. Let's open this tray and click it on the map one. We are gonna load the image. We already have loaded on the interface. So let's click on adjust, and we can start adjusting. So we're gonna crop the image, because it's not going to be necessary. You can use this is very useful. You can use this because the image is very big. So crop left, this, crop top, this, we can use this till here, and here till here, more or less, right? Because we are saying we have 21 centimeters, but we have 21.5 or 0.3 or 0.2 centimeters. In this case, it's not going to be very important. So okay. So, and let's adjust the image to the plane. Going to this scale. Oh, let's scale. Let's make it smaller with the grid size, like this. And now with the scale here, let's put it like this now, a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's make it wider now to cover the whole thing like this. The width is not so important than the height. I think we can have little bit more tolerance on the sides. So, and then let's save the CGR file. That means the grid. So we have the grid saved with the image attached to the grid. Okay, for future sessions. Okay, let me read the questions. You're the best. Are you sure? I'm not the best ZBrusher. You are kidding, man. Mr. Goldsmith, no, it's good. Okay, I try to say you always wear headphones. No, yeah, I'm always wearing headphones because I'm wearing this cable headphones. Maybe you can't see them because this is very thin wire, but many streaming scenes I don't wear the big ones. I don't know what's the name. Gas CD, I made a terrible mistake by not purchasing a Wacom tablet. Yeah, maybe. Chinese, which is not compatible with all of the software, has a pen that is not great. Yeah, maybe that is one of the strong points about the Wacom. And the Wacom is you have compatibility with all of the softwares. The feeling that you have with the pen when you are grabbing the pen, it's completely different than the others. But it's a matter of money, so just buy what you can approach with your budget and learn with it. Maybe in the future you can upgrade to a Wacom tablet, as I did, because I started with a very small tablet. Regarding the size of model inside ZBrush, do you know why it is recommended to work in 2-unit size? Why it is recommended that? I don't understand. 2-unit size, why? Is it related to the minimum and maximum brush size? No. Why 2-unit size is better? The first time that I know that. I work always with real or with final measurements. Of course, if someone is requesting to you to create a statue, sometimes I don't know how to pronounce the word in English, I'm sorry. The statue, a very big piece, and maybe we can say 3 meters or 5 meter tall or 4 meter tall. In that case, maybe it has some sense to make it in real size when you are sculpting inside of ZBrush. Maybe you can work in a scale. Maybe, for example, you can make it 10 times smaller to work inside of ZBrush. And once you have the file ready for exported for 3D printing, you can multiply the sizes by 10, and then you have the final size. But if we're talking about jewelry, I'm always, or maybe for collectibles, not for a very big or huge pieces, I always work with real. I don't like to say real because we are always working with real measurements. You know what I mean? It's with the real size of the object that I am creating. So in that case, I don't understand that rules that you read somewhere explain that it is necessary to work in 2-unit size. I don't know what you mean. It's the first time that I read that, because I don't worry about anything about that. I'm just set up the size with the scale master, and then with the transpose line I'm able to start taking measurements. What I'm gonna do it now, for example, if I have we have a 21 centimeters high template. So for example, if we want to know how big a head is from this picture, for example, we can zoom in and calling the gizmo and turning this on, so we're able to start using the transpose line. For example, if we want to know how big the eye is from top to bottom, here I'm reading that it is 2.5, 2.6 millimeter. I am reading the units here. Let me hide the top ribbon. You can see, you can read it here. So that means that if I want to know how big the eye is, you can see from this point to this point, ZBrush is telling to me that this size is 2.593. Well, maybe we can say 2.6 millimeter. If we want to know how big the head is from the neck till the nose, for example, it is 26 millimeter. Let me grab the caliper. 26 millimeter. 26 millimeter, yes. Is something like this big. This big from. This is bigger than my. This big from top to bottom. The whole pendant, and the heads are around 20, as I said before, around 26 from the neck to the nose. 27, maybe we can say 28 millimeters. 28 millimeters, around 28, between 28 and 30 millimeters, because we're having heads of this size more or less. So, or we want to know the rings, how big they are. For example, the thicknesses. We want to know, when we are creating this pattern, we want to know how thick the thickness of these bars, or I don't know how to call this, or the distance between the gaps for the enamel. So of course we are taking approximating measurements. Of course, it is impossible to take accurate, 100% accurate measurements from a picture, but just for having a reference in terms of proportions, and to know that we are creating the three things properly. So we can, for example, we can zoom in, and then we can, from left to right, here we have, for this is very small, maybe here we are having around 0.5, maybe reaching the 0.6 millimeter thick for these walls. And the from top to bottom, the rings are 6.5 millimeter, 6.6 millimeter. So now we have a lot of references from a picture. I don't think this was related to model real size, but to a convenience for a better performer where it's sculpting. Yeah, I know what you mean now. So yes, for example, in this part, in this case, it doesn't happen because I have my custom interface already adjusted. But sometimes you can find this, something like this. Let me try. When you are trying to create a brush, a very broad size, for example, when you are sculpting big pieces, and you are working with a real size object inside of ZBrush, you can notice, for example, for the sculpting process, that the brush size is not big enough when you adjust it to its maximum size. So you should go to Preferences, Draw, and adjust this dynamic brush scale to the maximum, or to the more or less around the middle. Is going to be enough. So now we're going to be able to work with a much larger brush sizes, and then the problem disappears. But another problem that you can find is related to the Dynamesh resolution. But if I work with this plugin, Dynamesh utility, when I am always designing the polygon instead of the Dynamesh resolution that you have here, that means that, for example, if I need a mesh composed by 1 million polygons, so I just need to put this one and tells to ZBrush that I want to create the Dynamesh with 1 million. So ZBrush will make the necessary calculation, and will give me the necessary resolution for 1 million polygons. At the end, it doesn't matter. Of course, that for a best performance of the software, it's better for keeping the real size, the sizes instead inside of ZBrush. That could be 2 by 2 millimeter, because if we take this and we take the measurement, maybe it could be 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter, right? This is a very tiny thing compared with the 2110 millimeters that we are working. But at the end, doesn't matter, my opinion. At the end, doesn't matter. I am here. This is this units. At the end, doesn't matter. You can work with your object sizes inside of ZBrush instead of working with the small units. because when you say 2 units at your comment, that means 2 millimeter. Because if you are grabbing, for example, if you grab the sphere, the cube, or the cylinder, all of them have 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter as a bounding box. But you can make it bigger and start working with a bigger piece if necessary. I don't think it was really the second. But if the problem is the brush size, you can solve it, as I said before. With the Dynamesh, you can create the same solution that I did with this plugin. Or another way, if you don't have the plugin, you can use the picker from the resolution. You can take the picker here. For example, you have here the resolution is very low because we have a very low resolution mesh. But for example, if you are working with an object that you are sculpting an object from a sphere which is 2 by 2 millimeter, at some point you make it bigger, 100 times bigger or 10 times bigger, and you want to keep the same resolution as with the 2 millimeter size. The only thing that you should do is go into Dynamesh, pick the resolution that you already have, and ZBrush will give you the new resolution, the new necessary resolution for keeping the same surface quality, and that's it. I think this is my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, could be a very old, maybe very old way of working. It could be. Now today we have much more solution during the different updates that we had during the time for the different ZBrush versions. So today it is not a problem. The Sculpting Pro doesn't matter. The Sculpting Pro is related to the brush size. Doesn't matter if the piece is this small or this small, depending on the brush size. Mr. Goldsmith is asking, I have an issue, custom, yeah, I'm brush. The problem is when I try to drag on object, the thick plane also comes. What? Let me read it again. I have an issue using custom IM brush. The problem is when I try to drag on the object, the thick plane also comes with the object. I don't understand what you mean. What do you mean about the plane? What plane? The IMM mesh is a plane, or the problem when I try to drag on the thick plane also comes with the object. Could you rewrite your question again? Yes, I don't really understand it. What do you mean with the plane? Because the plane is the mesh of the IMM brush, or what? Or a thick plane? I didn't understand it. Okay, let's start working on this. So we already have our templates. The template is telling to us the total height of the. So now let's start creating the snake bodies. All the snake bodies, we have different ways to do the same things as usual inside of ZBrush. My favorite way for create the snake bodies is spheres. So let's start working with spheres. So let's append. Let's adjust first the transparency of the image. Let's open the draw, fill mode to 3. And let's my personal settings are enhance factor to its maximum value, and then I change the opacity to don't make the image too bright, because here it's going to be difficult to sculpt. So let me adjust it here. So, and let's append and CSV. Let's make it smaller. E. You know that you can use the shortcuts Q, W, and E related to draw, move, and scale when you are working with CSpheres. I recommend you, when you are working with CSpheres, also set your brush size to its maximum, to its minimum value. I'm sorry. I think it will be easier for you. So let's start working on the first body. Maybe it could start from here, maybe. And to start, let's hide the plane. And to start dragging new sphere with the same size as the previous one, when you start dragging, you just press the shift key, and now you're gonna be able to start creating the chain of different spheres with this, all of them with the same size. So now it's time to go to move, then it's time to start locating the spheres where necessary, more or less here, here. Let's keep it straight from this view. We don't know if it is straight or not. Let's see. So you want to add more spheres, you can use the same method I used before. So start dragging a sphere from the latest one, or you can start putting a sphere in the middle of two. So now we have more to work with, like this. Now it's gonna be time now to adjust the size or the shape. So we can go to E for scale. If you can scale down or make it bigger or make it smaller individually. Or you can, if you select the joints, you can make the whole chain smaller at the same time. So you can go now to move, to go now. For now, it's not going to be necessary to be very precise, because we are just creating a starting point. So during the sculpting process, it's going to be necessary to sculpt, to resize, to sand, to change the shape. We are just, at this point, I'm just worried about the proportions and the shape of the body. Let's make this one smaller. So this one needs to be smaller, like this. This big, so W for move, and this. We can start with this. It's time to save. This is going to be the number one, and we have one snake body. Let's make this smaller as well. I'm gonna try to make it as fast as possible, just to you don't get bored about what I'm doing. But sometimes some processes takes time. So we can duplicate. We can now rotate this here, and now we can start. You can rotate this, but I can rotate from this point to this point. I can rotate all of the sphere which are at the bottom, but I can move this manually, like this and like this. And let's adjust this. What we can do is, the neck ends here. What we can do, we can remove this on the draw mode. Pressing the Alt key, we can remove these spheres that we don't need. So let's add here another one. And you don't have to be crazy about adding a lot of spheres, because as I said before, we're just creating a starting point. So if the form is not smooth enough, don't worry, because once we start working with the mesh, so maybe it's going to be time to start smoothing the surface for getting a smoother transition on the curves. So let's click on Q, let's W, we have two bodies, let's duplicate, let's go for the third rotation, rotate, let's click on solo, and let's start moving. So remove, add a new one, move. Let's make them smaller. Let's adjust it like this. Let's move this one here. Let's add the new one here. Let's make this smaller, 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 and smaller, like this. So let's, okay, we have another one. You can see, looks like they are, this is in the front. This looks like it's a little bit behind. This one is behind this one, and this one, these two looks like they are more or less at the same level, but okay, let's see. Now, at this moment is, I don't worry about to start moving to the front or to the back, because once we have real polygons, it's gonna be time to start working with the gizmo. It's going to be easier to handle with the gizmo instead of with spheres. Let's create the latest of this side. So let's duplicate. Let's start rotating. Let's start moving. This is the reason why I like to work with spheres when I'm creating snakes, because the way of making all the body flows within a snake is very flexible, working with spheres, because it's very easy to achieve the shape of the body that we need. Just working with the spheres like this, instead of with a base mesh of a tube or something. I prefer to work with this, but I think it's just a personal preferences. It doesn't mean that it is the correct way of do this. It's just my way to do this. So let's make this smaller. Let's this one could be. You can see I'm making the endings a little bit longer than the reference. Like this, like this, like this. Okay. We have maybe this one ends here, more or less. So we are having this. Luckily, yeah, I said it before. This thing is symmetrical. Yeah, the real piece is not symmetrical, because of course it's not symmetrical. But we're gonna try to take advantage of this feature. Yeah. If not, it will take much more time to complete, of course. Okay, let's go with this one. As I showed you before from my study here, this, you can see that this is going to be the same piece. It starts from here, goes to the front, then goes to the back, goes to the front again. Here we have an S, but we're gonna use this as a one single mesh instead of split this in two parts. One from here to here, another one from here to here. Let's create a continuous one from here to here. Then it's going to be better. Just for getting, no, it is not going to be necessary. Let's append a new sphere. So let's grab the sphere. Let's make it smaller. Move. It starts somewhere from here. And let's put it on the side, Ctrl W, and we're gonna start creating the sphere chain. And here, let's add two more. Let's start making them smaller. This is a very old tool, spheres. I think it could be one of the tools or the methods from the beginning of the software. I think when I found the software, the spheres already exist. I think it was at the version 2, I think, or 2.5, around from now 18 years ago, could be around, more or less, because I have been using ZBrush for around 18 years, no, maybe 17, 16, 17 or 18 years, more or less. So this is going to be the tail, and then working with the tail from this view, maybe we can start working with this. So this is going to be, this is what I mentioned before, the flexibility that you have when you are working with spheres, or getting the shape of the snake body, and also the mesh that you are having with from the spheres. This is very useful when you need to create the scales pattern. The topology is very easy to manage. It's another reason why I like to work with spheres. Let's push this back. So here we have the S, as I said before. You can see here we have the S, and here let's just split this here. And one more. Okay, let's working with another one. Duplicate. We can delete this one, this one, this one, this one, and now we can use this as a starting point. Q. Two more. Let's create this. Most of the time, the most interesting things when we are talking about jewelry happens at the back of the piece of the design. I said the beauty happens at the front, but the technical aspects or the technical beauty happens at the back of the design when we are talking about jewelry designs. In this case, we haven't got any information of the back, but I would love to see the back of this piece someday. I think it's gonna be difficult because these pictures I think were taken from the museum, and then you can see it's hanging on a wall on a wall, and the distance between the piece and the wall is very small. I think it's not going to be possible to see what's happening if you are watching or you are observing the piece from the side. Let's see, because I have planned to go here to this museum to see this piece in real. Okay, pushing ball. Is there any way to know if the topology that's going to be generated by the skin tool? It's okay. That's why I'm watching the spheres. Yeah, I think the spheres is also telling to you the different proportion between two different points. The only thing that you should be concerned of is that one sphere is not rotated from the other one. Because if you have this, maybe the topology is going to be twisted, and maybe you can have problems with the flow of the polygons. But all of the sphere is having the same orientation. You can have one big sphere to one small, and only you will have the different changes on size, but without any problem on the topology. If you want to know how the topology is going, you should go to the preview or pressing the A on the keyboard, and ZBrush is giving to you what is happening, what is going to happen once you transform the spheres to real geometry. By default, ZBrush is showing to you the topology with Dynamesh. I don't like this. I prefer to would you like to start modifying? No. So I prefer to convert the spheres into a regular wax mesh. So you should turn set up this in from 256 to 0, and now you can have this. What I told you before, for example, if I make this bigger like this, we will have this. But you can see the topology is still good enough. But if you are having something like this, I'm gonna try to replicate a mistake or an error. If you go to rotate and you start rotating this one, or maybe this one, well, let's try to rotate this one. Something like this, rotating. So maybe you're gonna start. You can see you're gonna start twisting the mesh. So maybe with this you can have problems. So if you want to do this instead of the way that I did it, it's much better to go to move and make this, and you will have the same polygon flow as the original. My advice, I think it's just a personal advice, try to don't rotate. To use rotate, for example, when I'm using rotate, I'm always rotating the joints, but I never rotate the spheres. If not, you're gonna have a very strange mess or with some issues on the surface. Hello, good boy. I'm facing a problem using curves brush. The curve is not snapping properly on the surface below. Yeah, very easy to fix. Let me fix this first, and then I will answer your question. So let's rotate this, and this one goes here, something like this, and goes here and goes here, and this one here. Then that means that this sphere needs to go on top. Yeah, okay, something like this. Let's save this. Okay, for example, the problem that you are having is HJ. I don't know if I'm pronouncing properly your name. Sorry if not. So if for example, you have curve brush, for example, let me find which one could I use. Maybe a regular curve multitude. No, this one, not this one. For example, if you are creating this, you can see here I'm not having this issue that you are having, that the curve is not snapping properly on the surface below. I think this one is 100% right, but you only should pay attention to this graphic. You will find this graphic here. If you go to the brush settings, and you go to the depth section, so you will find this graphic. That means that the black line means the surface, and the circle means where the curve is placed related to the surface. That means if I grab this sphere and I put this here, I will have this. If I put it separated, as you can see, it is not touching the surface. This is wrong, so I just need to adjust this a little bit, and now I have contact between each other. Or if I'm looking for to place it half inside and half outside, just put the black dot aligned with the surface, and now you are going to be able to do this. For example, I have another example here related to jewelry. For example, I have this brush like this. So if I change this, I will get this. You can see the curve is floating, it's not touching the surface. Or if I put it even further, I have this issue. But if I looking for to place half of the mesh inside and half of the mesh outside, just adjusting this and problem solved. So the answer is going to brush, then go to depth and start playing with this graphic. And that's it. Teaching bonus. In this case, density is lighted only applies if dynamic resolution is greater than 0. Now, when you are, let's come back to this. if you go to the display properties, the unified adaptive skin, if you set up the dynamesh is the mesh resolution. If you set it up to 0, you are telling to ZBrush that I don't want to create any dynamesh. I'm looking for a regular polymesh, and that's it. Okay, that's it. Now applies it. Yeah, is greater than 0, then ZBrush is using dynamesh. If it is equal to 0, ZBrush is creating a polymesh. And with the density, that means that you are going to create a polymesh with 2 levels of resolution. When you are creating subdivision levels, that means, for example, if I click on make a data skin, you will get the skin here on your toolbox. That means that I have 2 levels of resolution. That's the meaning of this another value. The density, where I am here. Density and dynamic resolution. I prefer to create polymeshes instead of dynameshes for this example. It's going to be much more useful. In my opinion, dynamesh works better just for sculptural purposes. When you are grabbing a piece of clay or a piece of material and you start playing with forms and shapes with more freely, so with freehand sculpting. So you don't need straight lines, regular polygons for any UV mapping or for any C modeler extrusions or deformations. So that's the reason why I prefer to go to polymesh first from here instead of dynamesh, because I'm not yet in the sculpting process. Let's go with this one. Maybe we can create a duplicate of this, and we can mirror it, and we can start moving the mesh, matching the path. And also, when you are moving spheres, try to don't do this, because if not, maybe you can have problems with the topology. Maybe you can have problem with this. This kind of bendings doesn't work. That means that the ZBrush more or less is telling to you that here you have a mistake with the spheres disappears, and you can start having this kind of transparency effects. So the spheres needs to have a regular, as more as possible, regular distribution of path. Maybe I can delete this one. You can't delete the original, the root. Here, can end here. Okay. 1 minute. I need to check my phone. Okay, no problem. Like this, maybe here we can see that this one is taking this direction, and this one is taking this direction, goes from the top. So the knot, this is start happening here. I'm gonna try to don't make it too thick. Here I have more information. Here in some pictures. Which one? Maybe this one. So let's put it always on top, so I can see how they work. So this was more here, something like this. Yeah, more or less. That is happening, something like this. And let's go to the latest. I can use this one, or maybe this one. Let's duplicate this. I can delete, and now I can move it. Move it like this, and the head starts. Here is having a curve for the neck. Of course, the neck needs to be smaller. And this thing needs to be more here on the top. This is, you can see now again, the reason why I prefer to work with these spheres, because for making knots and things like this, it gives you more flexibility instead of managing a mess with the move brush, or even with the gizmo, or at least, or even with the new, my opinion, even with the new anchor brush, that it's great for making a lot of things, or the transpose line. But I prefer as a starting point, okay? Because the anchor brushes are going to be necessary, and the transpose line is going to be necessary. But for making the initial blocking of the bodies, I think is going to be more useful. How this one needs to be here. And another thing that we need to pay attention is that we are taking a reference as a picture. The picture has a focal length deformation from the lens, and now we are working inside of ZBrush without perspective. So that means that we don't need to be 100% worried about matching the back image. We are just it's a kind of interpretation of what we are seeing and what we are doing. So it is not 100% necessary to match the image that we have at the back, because the image at the back are more or less deformed because of the lens deformation of the camera. So, but more or less, it give us the necessary information, but we don't have to be very worried about we are creating a perfect match with the back image. And let's see if I have more images which give us more information about the knot. Maybe this one. Yeah, more or less. This one, this picture were taken from this angle. Okay, so let's see. If let's duplicate this and mirror it. Let's duplicate this one and mirror it. Let's duplicate this one and mirror it. Let's duplicate and just for start understanding how it works. This one, for example, needs to go then this goes to the back of the design. More or less something like this, and this will go something like this. Then here we should pass this, and maybe this is not, just for understanding that the knot it's working off or not. So let's push this back a little bit more, and let's add here another one. Yeah, more or less. And we are almost. Maybe this neck is longer. So we don't have to be worried about this, because if we make a preview, we can see here that it's like we're having different segments instead of a relaxed curve. But once we have the polygon, we can start polishing the mesh, and we don't have to be worried about this. So I'm just worried at this point, about how the composition works. Of course, at this point, it needs much more work, because all of the bodies here on the left, on the right, all of them are 100% aligned in the same level, and at some point it's going to be necessary to push them to the back and to the front, or make them more realistic from the reference. But at this point, I think it's going to be enough. I think I'm sorry, the depth setting works fine. The problem is the curve is crashing into the geo random. The snap to surface button is not working at all. When that happens, most of the time is related to the topology. Depending on the kind of mess you are on your curve brush, but with when you are creating, because when you're creating a curve brush, it's like you are creating a chain of different individual meshes. That means if the mesh is not having the right position when you were creating the brush, maybe you are having that problem for that, or maybe for the topology. Maybe try to change the topology, create the brush again, and try it again. Having holes, the mesh, I think it's not going to be a problem if the mesh is having holes. Yeah, it could be. For example, when you are connecting different meshes together, maybe you can having this problem. For example, let me try to think how can I replicate the issue you're having. Or I will tell you, just go to brush, go to curve. No, I'm sorry, go to modifiers and turn on this button, weld points, and try it again. Weld points. Or also try to play with this setting, curve resolution. Let me go to the, I was here working with this. For example, this. You can see this brush has curve res to 13. If I select this brush has curve res to 1. So that means if I create, this brush always works. This is not a good example, but if, for example, if I have my brush here, if I change the curve resolution from 13 to 1, you can, when you're trying to create a curve, you can, no, this brush also works with this setting. Maybe try to play with the curve resolution and with the weld points active, and also with the max bend angle, because if I reduce this, maybe this brush always works. It's perfect. I don't know, but try to play with the weld points, with the curve resolution, and maybe with the max bend angle. In this case, it's not going to be so important, but try to press this and go, instead of 1 to 3, it's going to be an enough value to as a starting point, and check it out again. My opinion, it could be related to topology issues, or as Punching Ball said before, because the mess is open, has it, or some kind of topology issues that you're having on your. I'm going to use this because my screen is not very big. This is the problem when I'm having reference images. I'm working on a 22 inches Wacom. Okay, say it again. I remind you that the video is not having the right title. I'm not Ian, but no problem. Okay, let's keep working. So once we have this, what I like to create is, I'm gonna create a new folder or keep things organized. So let's put everything inside. Let's start working on this. So now I go to this, adapt the skin, Dynamic 0, make adapted skin, so I can append the new skin. I can hide this one. To know, I can turn this on, then I know on which sphere chain I'm working on. So we can go to roulette, preview Dynamic 0, make adapted skin, append. Oh, I appended the wrong one. Let's append should be this one. No, maybe I forgot to create the adapted skin. Oh no, here it is. And I can go to the second one, then to the third, where I am. Not this one. I want to convert this one. Let's put this the fourth. So adaptive skin, make adaptive skin, append this. Let's go to this one. Append, make adaptive skin, Dynamic 0, and append pin 1 and this one. And let's go now to, I don't want to use this is just for as a reference. Let's create this one. Let's make the skin, append this. I have this. Next one is going to be this one. Like this on the end. Okay, we are almost done. So and create this one, and this is the latest. 0, append, and this one. So now we can close now the folder, and now we can start working with the polygons. So you can see how it looks like, a bit weird. So now what I do is, when I'm working with spheres and snakes, what I do, you can see you have one polygroup for each segment from sphere to sphere. We have a different polygroup. I prefer to convert everything into one polygroup, Control W. And now using the polys, I can start polishing the mesh. As more as you polish the mesh, you're gonna start, it starts more relaxed, and now it works better. The same for this, Control W and polish. The same for this. You can see it here, the mesh at some point was rotated, but no problem, because I'm gonna use a series measure to change the topology. So let's just start relaxing. I use the polish, the default polish. It's like that. You will find it here under the deformation, the first one, the polish. Simple or polish method. So here I have. Let's save. Painted Dragon, hey, how are you doing? Welcome. Welcome. We are 88 viewers now. Thank you. People watching the stream. So let me find this, because I'm working on this half. So now it's going to start working on, for example, here, let me see if I have one side view. Looks like this one is more to the front, something like this. Maybe a bit rotated. Could be more or less something like this, right? The next one is this one goes a bit behind. Maybe this one is thinner. Now I'm using the smooth brush to make it thinner. Okay, for this is very useful going to the draw palette. Where is it? Here. And working with the enhance opacity. Now with this you are watching clearly the limits of the mesh. You can see just for matching the mesh, because when we are having less transparency we are more confused, because we are watching more the image, and with the shades, the shadows, and with the lights of the matte cap, so maybe we are not having a good reference. So in this case, for this kind of adjustments I'm doing now, if it is, for this it's going to be better to use the move topology. Yeah, it works a little bit better, more like this. And it's starting to admit that this is not so thick. It goes here better. Like this. And you almost ready. And let's see, this one goes to the back and this one goes to the front. Yeah, could be they are okay. Let's see, more or less it can work like this, like they are now. Lavender, welcome, you as well, from Twitch. So now what we can do now is we can mirror and weld. This function can be applied to a mesh with multiple subdivision levels. Okay, got it. So I'm not going to use the lowest subdivision level, so I can get rid level number 1. So delete lower. Now I can mirror and weld it. That is telling to me that it is not well positioned. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's well. But here I'm having a problem. When I'm going to mirror and weld, we are welding both bodies together, and I prefer to keep them separated as individual pieces, so them will be better to. If you want to keep them both in the same subtool, mirror and weld is a good choice, but now I think I'm gonna duplicate it. Mirror and weld now. No, I'm sorry, mirror. And let's keep it as an individual subtools. And this one needs to be. You can see it is not 100% symmetrical, but we will try to make it as more symmetrical as possible. And I mean that I want to say that once I only want to work with on the texture of this body instead of the two bodies. I'm just creating this one just for having the body as a reference or checking the composition. Let's turn on dynamic. And with this one, it's going to be possible to mirror and weld. Same as before, delete lower. No, same thing. So, okay, what I can do is maybe I can make it long, shorter. If I now mirror and weld, now I can get both. And the same with this one. And the same with this one. Wow, I don't learn. Okay. Okay, I think the block out is good enough. Okay, what time is it? Okay. 30 minutes left. So what we can do now is to start talking about different things. I'm gonna try to create this shape, the body section. So what I'm gonna try is to split the mesh into 3 different polygroups. So I'm gonna try to create polygroup. This paint, yeah. Polygroup number 1, polygroup number 2, and polygroup number 3. I think it's going to be okay with 3. Let's see. So I'm gonna try to go from this shape that the bodies are currently having to this shape, this kind of diamond shape, or I don't know what to call it. Well, how we can do this was a bad choice to start creating the copies. Okay, I will need to repeat it, no problem. So for example, if I grab this, come here, and let's use this. Try to find a picture where we can see the body shape. This one, for example. This one or this one. Yeah, this one maybe. Where we are watching this going to be a limit. And this is going to be, the body has this shape. So there's one polygroup number 1, polygroup number 3, and on the back, I'm sorry, polygroup number 1, number 2, and at the back the 3rd polygroup. And here we have a line. That means that it's going to be necessary to split this, having this. So we're going to have this blue line is going to match this blue line. Just to start having this kind of diamond shape of the body. And this is going to be necessary to replicate it one by one. And for example, here we have another limit here. This one goes this way, and this one this way. the same thing here, more or less something. If I turn this on, right, you are watching, nope, no. This thing goes here. It looks like it is happening here, third one. Maybe there are going to be more than 3 polygroups, maybe yes, because it is having this kind of shape in the neck. We're gonna need to create a third polygroup, but it looks like it is having this kind of shape instead of having the same, this ends here but follows till the end. I think it looks like it is just a flat plane that it is having here, something like this, but that means that it is not happening here. Oh yes, maybe here it is happening here, very tiny surface here. Okay, now we will try to see how can we another song. Yeah, I'm sorry, we got let me change. Yeah, I know, I'm agree, the songs are a bit, if I change the style, now the sound now it's quieter than before. I'm sorry about the sound, because the sound is, I'm not playing the songs is from an application are played randomly. I'm agree with you that the previous one was a bit the music maybe is too loud. Okay, thank you. Go to, let's reduce, but I think it depends of the song, not for the music or the volume. Let's keep it this. Yeah, I'm sorry about. So let's go. So if I go to this one, maybe we can approach this with different forms. When I'm working with snakes, if we are taking the, yeah, more or less is matching the thickness. When we are creating snakes, is to start thinking about to split the body into different polygroups. I make 2 different caps. I use the masking method. Create polygroups with the mask. For example, let's grab a lasso and let's grab these polygons. Control W. Now here we have a cap here. One at the end, another one at the beginning. Control W. No, let's try to replicate to make it more accurate. No. Control W. And now I can, this is the front view, right? This is the front view, yeah. Now I can select this one, and now it's going to be necessary to split this. Let's reduce the intensity now. So what we can do is let's try to use this border. If we can use this, let's try the first method, see modeler, this size, we can create a bevel. The bevel is applied to 2 sizes at the same time. I don't like this. If I change edge look partial like this, okay. So now I have this, and the same thing with this. Maybe it could be here. More, yes, it's okay. And then I can So now I have this organization. So we can now Control Shift, isolate this, and now auto groups. Auto groups again. I want a different color. No, groups by Nova, no, auto groups. Yes. I think the problem I'm having this, they are. I need to hide this too. To open them. Like this. Let's try to hide this. Well, Control W is going to be enough. Okay. I think it's not going to work because here have a. Let's repeat it. Now with everything visible. Yes. Now it's going to work better. Now here I have one polygroup. Here I have the second one. Yes, and the third is going to be here. Let me see. It could go here. Now if we click on auto groups, we are I think they are separated pieces, right? Let's go here. Now we can Control W for one. Now yes. Now we have different polygroups. We have one polygroup here. Another one polygroup here, and the third one here. The caps here, one cap. Okay, so if we now go to the series measure to remove the bevels here, what I can do is hide this one, click on grow, now Control W, and for example to this one, grow and Control W, we have the necessary polygroups. And now it's time to series measure. I want to have the same amount of polygons, keep it the groups, but I don't want to smooth the groups. So I have now the mesh split into different polygroups. So now when I start polishing by feature the mesh like this, you can see we can have this shape. So of course, when we are trying to polish now, as we are working with a very low resolution mesh, happens this, because the polishing is too aggressive. We can close this hole and start polishing more carefully, and this is what we are looking for. So now we have the body split into different surfaces, or we have changed the profile of the body. For example, if we want to make some adjustments, let me grab ends here. Okay, now it is not 100% precise from the original, like this. We can make it thicker with the backface mask, for example. Like this. And for example, here the body is too thick with the pinch brush. And now with this method, we will be polishing the mask till having the result. But here the most important thing here is that now we have changed the shape of the body. It is not tubular anymore, like this one. And we can split this into different polygroups for the UV unwrapping. So we're gonna wrap the body into different islands based on each polygroup, or apply a different texture to each one. So this will take time, so I will be one by one checking all of the polygroups till getting the right organization of for the bodies. For example, for this one, they are going to be maybe more not so complex. So with this, maybe I can show you another method than the other one, and I was fighting with the C modeler because I am not a very expertise about with the C modeler. But here, when I can, this is maybe I can use the traditional method. So let's create the caps first with the mask as before. Let's create a cap here. Ctrl W. Like this. And another one here. Ctrl W. Bigger, like this. Ctrl Shift and tap on this polygroup. This is the front view. Right, and we are gonna need to create this line, the limit. Okay, this. If I turn on the wireframe, maybe we can say that we can select 1, 2, 3, 4 polygon rows here, one polygroup here, and the other polygroup here. So another method that I use is a more maybe traditional or more not so technical, like C modelers with the transpose, with a topology mask, with the gizmo and control. We can start dragging the mask like this. Ctrl W, and now we have the necessary polygroups. Yeah, maybe what we can do is, for this, the C model is very useful. This option, we can make a mask, a blue partial. This, I invert the mask, and I can tweak this. Let's shrink the mask a little bit, so I can push a bit the polygons for matching the path that we want. We have deformed a little bit the mesh, but doesn't matter because now it's going to be necessary to create a new mesh. Now maybe we can say here, give me the double, keep groups not as smooth, so rip. Now we have the necessary organization. Now let's start polishing, and now we have the right shape. Here, the same with this. Let's create the caps first. Ctrl W. Now open the mesh, and now let's see. We need to go here more or less. Ctrl W. Maybe one more. Grow mask. Ctrl W. Grow mask again. Grow. No, one less. Shrink mask. No, shrink. Okay, like this. I think that's better. So now we can double, keep groups. Let's change the color here. And now we are having necessary shape. We don't care about the caps because they are not going to be visible. So like this, and maybe here it's going to be necessary to match better. The body, let's push it back, and now here we are going to start having, you can see the necessary shapes. Very useful brush that you can find here, Lightbox, brush, a smooth brush. Where is it? Here, the smooth folder. You will find this brush, the smooth groups. This one. I already have this brush here on my custom interface. So if at any point, for example, when you are tweaking, when you are adjusting the forms, for example, cat happens this, that the form is not regular, you grab this brush, a smooth brush, you can start smoothing the groups, and then it's going to be very easy to smooth the surfaces based on the existing polygroups. So this one is going to be very useful when you are working with polygroups like this. So let's save. 101 viewers. Thank you very much to everybody who are watching the stream or who are going to watch the stream after the stream. Okay, one more. So let's grab this. With this is longer, but no problem. You can see that the masking method maybe is a bit faster than the managing the polygons with the C modeler, but it's up to you. It's the most important thing is grabbing the concept about what I am doing is just splitting the body into different polygroups, and maybe this. Maybe I'm gonna create the mask here. If I click Ctrl W, no, I can have this. Maybe I can grow the mask. Again, grow 2 times. No, one less. One less. No, I prefer to have this. And now, ZBrush, you can. It's very important, the settings. So half double in this case, as we are starting from a very low amount of polygons. That's the reason why I turn on double. I looking for keeping the group, so you should have this button active, and this is going to be very important to smooth groups, so don't apply any smoothing to the groups. And now we are having a perfect groups distribution. And for example, when you're having this problem, sometimes you can see here you're having, this is not a very perfect loop here. What you can do is with the smooth groups, start smoothing groups to start having a regular shape, and now repeat the same operation as before. And now you will get a much better, not very perfect, but what I can do is I can make a mask here, convert the mask, and then apply some polishing or relaxing the mesh. And now within a smaller brush size, smoothing the surface more carefully. So not bad. So it's a matter of tells to ZBrush a correct path. For example, here I have the same issue, so let's relax this. No. Wait. So instead of double, say now. Oh, I have here the same issue here. And then you can start fixing your topology doing this. You're having a very good polygroups distribution like this. Now it's time to polish. Smooth polish here, and that's it. Also here you can see here the shape here is a little bit flat before start making, so we can move with the back face. Move and back face is great for adding thickness like this without the back face mask. Now yeah, like this. Smooth groups. Where smooth, and where is it? Smooth. bodies, smooth peak, smooth cloth. I missed the shortcut, I'm sorry, so quite a minute, so smooth groups, where is it? I don't find it. Smooth cloth, smooth big valley. And where is smooth groups here? Okay, done. Now we can start smoothing this. Oh, I did something wrong, maybe. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Just for having this, for example, what you can do is make a mask here, grow the mask, and with the H polish, you're gonna start polishing this for making the end of the tail like this. So I think for me the polygroups are very important to work with polygroups. When you are creating snakes, the polygroups are very important because it simplifies a lot the process when you are creating the shape of the body. Instead of using the sculpting process, a smooth brush, H polish, start smoothing, polishing, smoothing, polishing, it's much better to have, or having a very uniform surface, a uniform shape. It's much better working with polygroups instead of with the sculpting process. I'm talking about giving the necessary shape and form of the snake. Now maybe we can try the new anchor brushes. Maybe I want to rotate from here to here. Maybe we can. The problem now it's going to be necessary to make a mask. And the anchor brushes, they are very useful for create this kind of thing. And maybe let's start creating the polygroups. Control W, only one polygroup. Control W here. Control W here. And now we are going to here I have maybe this one is going to be more difficult to make the distribution. Let's see, Control W. No, it's not. Maybe I need to start from here. Okay, like this is much better. Control W now. I have the body here. Maybe. This is a problem that you can have with the topology is not well aligned with the polygroup you are looking for. What I recommend to you is start using the third method when we talk about the snakes again. So now we can subdivide because we're going to need more resolution. I don't like this distribution. Control W, only one. And the third method is go ahead and start painting the mask manually. For example, goes from the neck. Let's apply the focal shape to -100 and start drawing by yourself the path that you are looking for. In this case, for the belly, like this. Really? So don't worry about this kind of jagged edge. I'm worried only about the location, like this. And now Control W. And now, as before, we can go to zero measure Let's say the same amount, keep groups, no smoothing, zero measure. So the same as before, because I'm still having this kind of jagged edges, but maybe in this case, instead of smooth groups, let's say 50, because here is going to be necessary to smooth this transition, because here I have a kind of jagged edge here, not regular. So let's say now like this, and now this is what we have. In this case, the smooth group is going to be very useful, and now we have the right organization. And for example, here it is not perfect. Smooth groups, where are you? Here. I did smooth groups here. I can fix this, relaxing the flow here, make it more regular, and now then repeat the, and now I am having a better distribution like this. Let's polish, and now I'm having the right, and maybe here, maybe here it is going to be necessary to rotate it because it's facing more to the front, and maybe it is more like this. But at this point, once we have the head, maybe it's going to be time to fix, but at this point I think it's going to be enough. As I said at the beginning, so this design is going to take a bit of time, but I think we're almost done. So for me, I'm gonna try to spend a bit of time before the next streaming, so just for don't be here repeating the same theme over and over again, because as I said before, it's going to be necessary to create the polygroup for all of the, in this case, for 1, 2, 3 more tubes. Next streaming, we're going to start working on the snakes, on the heads. Once we have the distribution, let's start creating the tileable textures. Let's auto apply the tileable images we're going to create to the bodies, and so on. So let's create more and more progress, still having the final piece. But for the next day, just for breaking what we did today and starting with a completely different thing, we're going to start working on the head. So let's start working from the sphere. Let's start sculpting the head shape that I have here. I was talking about at the beginning of the streaming, considering the different planes based on these studies I made. So sculpting the different planes and trying to create replicating the pattern for the animal, the snake, or the head. I love that. They are beautiful, the snake heads. And this is going to happen in the next streaming. Today I don't know when. Maybe let me see a calendar. Maybe next week, not. Maybe we are gonna be in November. Maybe November the 9th is going to be my next streaming. I'm gonna try to book that day, but today I don't know it 100%, but I will try. And so amazing, only in my first year in a third 3D video game school. Oh, great. And in your first day, in your first year, I think you're gonna learn completely different things that I normally do, because my work is more focused on 3D printing. So, but I hope you can learn small things or something from me. Is my UI custom fundable yet? If you go to my website, let's drop it here. This. You go to www.nachoriesco.com. you go to my website, you can go to resources. Here you will find some keyshot materials, alphas, more keyshot materials, and here you will have my custom UI. Clicking here, so you will be able to download my UI. I used my UI on a Wacom HD 22 inches. That means that if you are using a bigger or a smaller resolution, my interface doesn't fit the screen, but I hope it will be useful anyway. So at the bottom here, no, it disappears. I don't know why. So here you can find my link tree. I'm gonna paste on the chat my link tree, where you will find all of the links to my social media websites. I am talking about this link because it's link tr.e, so link tree Nacho Riesco. Let me copy and paste it on the chat to all of you who are interested on my work. You can visit my websites where I have some courses, articles. You will be able to find my ArtStation page, for example, with the new layout. So you will find me on ArtStation, or you will find my YouTube channel. You will find my Instagram. This is my Instagram under my name of Escultura Digital 15. You will find all of the access to my social media, my Facebook page, my Twitter, my Behance, my Twitter, my LinkedIn page, my DeviantArt, Pinterest, my Patreon. So you will find me here, so on this link. So and that's it. So I just need to say thank you to everybody. So I will be here streaming, as I said before, in November. I don't know when, but I will be here making more progress on this design. I really appreciate your support during the streaming, and I hope you find it useful. You are watching the video, you can leave your comments on the video, mostly on the YouTube video there. I will check in your questions. I will try to answer all of your questions or your doubts about what I did today. And I hope to see you here in November making more jewelry with ZBrush. So take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye. See you soon. Bye.